4 million people have seen me talking about my most improbable Scrabble play. The New Yorker did a fantastic job with this piece, but I actually don't think I did that good of a job of explaining why the play I chose was so crazy. So in this video, I'll show you the full game, which was a great one, and dive a bit deeper into what makes it so ridiculous. To set the stage here, I'm in Albany, New York in the summer of 2012, attempting to defend my first ever multi-day tournament victory. After wins in my first 2 games, I'm paired up with Larry Sherman in round 3. Larry's brother Joel is one of Scrabble's greatest players, but Larry is no slouch, with a top 100 ranking in North America heading into this tournament. As I explained in the New Yorker video, I'm going second with this rack of all consonants and a blank. I distinctly remember realizing that if Larry played the 2-letter word op as in operation, I would be able to bingo with stop banks in response. Since that's obviously never happening, I'll probably be using whatever vowels Larry plays for my next move, or if he exchanges, I'll play tisk, setting up my S. But then Larry picks up exactly 2 tiles from his rack. All of a sudden, my odds of getting the exact play I just envisioned go from might as well be 0 to still low, but decidedly not 0. And after thinking for another agonizing minute or so, he puts those 2 tiles on the board, and miraculously, they're the O and P. Once I saw that Larry had played op, I started laughing, which is not only rude, but it also hurt me in the game because Larry told me afterwards he probably would have challenged the word and lost a turn had I not been giggling like an idiot. That being said, I really don't blame myself for failing to maintain my poker face here. Note also that this game took place in 2012 when Po was not yet valid in North America. Seeing your opponent play Po instead of op in this situation would have been the most devastating troll imaginable, which makes me feel even luckier in retrospect. The editing of the New Yorker video makes it seem like the craziest thing about this move is that I envisioned it before it happened. But what's actually crazy is that with my exact rack, op is the only play in the entire Scrabble dictionary that Larry could have made that allows me to bingo in response. There are no 7 or 8 letter bingos with this rack, so the only way I can bingo here is to play through an existing word on the board, and while there are some funny longer words with these letters like Budinskis, none of them have valid words embedded within them that allows me to wrap my letters around it the way I can with op to form stop banks. Anyway, I still have the entire game left to play, and instead of challenging, Larry plays Burr for just 7 points. I draw clunky letters, and without good options, I decide to play Blouson for 13 points. Larry could have been setting up another R with Burr, which the right side Blouson wouldn't block, hence my choice to play this word on the left. But Larry plays the R-less Manganel for 67, a very nice find. Fortunately for me, this play puts an A out in space in a perfect spot to give me oxalated for 88 to jump right back out ahead. Larry plays Yap for 39, overlapping the X, and I draw some decent tiles, but also the famously clunky UV combination. I can't play through the E of oxalated productively, so I choose Fierce for 36, a solid play with one big flaw. It keeps my 2 worst tiles for next turn. What I should have done here is play 5 for 26. Yes, this sacrifices 10 points compared to Fierce and opens up the lower left triple, but there are already several dangerous scoring spots on this board. And not only do I break up the UV combination, but I also keep the R, which hooks both Burr and Fiver, allowing me to play most of the 7-letter bingos I might draw. Larry plays Hin for 30, and I answer with Avour for 43, my top option by a fair margin. Larry then hits Zincates for 92 to nearly even the score, a word which shows up later in the same New Yorker video, and I then draw 3 I's to my lone U after Avour. Despite the tantalizing Z right next to the triple, to my dismay, I literally cannot use it at all. So I grudgingly play Inulin for 12 to dump as much junk as possible and hope for the best. Then Larry hits the Z quite hard, and I draw even more vowels. Suddenly, in deep trouble, I exchange, keeping ER instead of playing Uri, which blocks the board further. Larry plays Use, hooking Vours, and I remember being stunned at the reversal of fortune in this game. How could I be about to lose after making one of my best ever plays? So I play the uninspiring but solid choice of meta, balancing my rack, and hoping for a great draw. Larry plays Woe for 29, and my prayers are answered with the second blank, which I use to play Operated for 77. Even then, I'm still trailing, and if Larry has a good play here, I'm still going to be in deep trouble, but he plays Aid for just 17 points instead, putting me in an interesting late game situation. With 6 tiles in the bag, I'm down by 22 and facing an unseen Q and J. Normally, Doe would be the play here, keeping the nicely balanced AR, but instead I play Horde in the same spot. The extra 6 points are nice to have, and while Horde leaves the much worse UG combination, keeping the U allows me to absorb the Q much more easily if I draw it, which I do. I then get another huge stroke of luck as Larry plays TT, clearly struggling with 3 eyes on his rack, bringing us to the endgame. Fortunately for me, Larry has no good way to block my big Aquai play while using his J in the process. After 2 more endgame moves apiece, I squeak out a back and forth thriller, 452 to 429, saving me from having to explain that I lost this game despite playing one of my best ever plays. Despite this epic win, I ended up having a mediocre tournament, but I came away with a memory that I won't soon forget. So, how rare was this play anyway? In one dataset of 10 million AI versus AI games, there were only 12 games where the player going second needed one specific word in order to bingo and actually got that exact word. The real odds are likely lower than this in live tournament play, where human players will often exchange tiles rather than make a low-scoring opening. For example, in this instance, the computer engine's quick choice is in for 4 points, but with more in-depth simulation, the computer engine chooses to exchange I from this rack, maximizing its bingo odds and denying player 2 the chance to play unjointed. Most strong human players would likely go this route as well. So, whether my odds were 1 in a million or 1 in many millions, being able to play stop banks in this game was a magical moment that I think few other games could provide. It's cool to have gotten to share it with millions of people, and I hope you enjoyed this deeper dive into it as well. As always, thanks for watching.